All right, so this is my problem. This space behind me is almost always in total chaos, and it doesn't need to be. It's totally my fault, but I think I can create a system which might make it less chaotic, or at least give me a pathway towards being less chaotic. I'll show you what the problem is. This is my workspace. These two benches were custom made by me to sit either side of my drop saw. And underneath all this chaos, you can see there's a little lip here which forms the fence, or it lines up with the fence of the drop saw. What this means in theory is that I can put junk behind that line and it won't interfere with me cutting, and ideally nothing is put in front of that line. Depending on what's going on in the workshop, that is sometimes not adhered to. However, the dumping ground behind the line is just that, it's a dumping ground, and I need it to be organized. I'll show you what's in there right now. Pile of sandpaper that doesn't fit in my drawer, even though I have a full sandpaper drawer, also in chaos. Pencils, router bits, they don't need to be there. Drill bits, they need an actual home because I use them all the time. Drills, that mallet's too big to fit in my drawer. PPE, the chisels I have out because I use them all the time. There's always glues and solvents and stuff here that I use really regularly. Don't know why the dominoes are there. My trimmer router is always here because I use it all the time. And jigsaw and just junk, lots and lots of junk. So some of that stuff needs to be there because I use it really regularly, like my chisels and like the PVA glue. It just needs to be there where I can grab it really easily. The PPE has to be there, has to be available. I don't want to be going into a drawer for it. The drill bits, I really like to have them right there where I can use them. However, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't need to be there. And I also feel like if I can give things a specific place, then they're less likely to just fall into chaos. So here's what I have in my favor. I have a huge pile of plywood left over from a job. This is all offcut. I have lots of sheets of 18mm and lots of sheets of 9mm. Now, for these little shelves, I actually think that 18mm is probably going to be too thick. None of those shelves actually need to hold up very much weight, and so I think the 9mm will be probably okay. In a perfect world, I would maybe use 12mm, but what I have is 9mm and it's free, so that's what we're going to use. So there's a couple of ways that I could create organization here, but a big part of what I want is a certain amount of modularity. I would really like the components, whatever they are, to be able to expand and contract as I find new things that need to go there. Now, the reality about most modular systems is usually they reach a point at which you no longer move them. Because in general, if we're talking about shelves in your house or shelves in your workshop, they just kind of reach equilibrium. They've got stuff on them and then they just never get moved. However, I still like the idea of, at least in the setup phase, being able to move stuff around. Now, I could just build a couple of vertical dividers and have some horizontal members that can move into different locations, or perhaps a couple of boxes that have some rebate slots in them and just pieces can slide in and out. But what I don't like about that is anywhere where there are little rebates or little slots for pieces to slide into. In a dusty environment like this, those little slots are going to get filled with sawdust, and I just think it's going to look really messy. I think I can do something a bit cleaner. Another option would be to really carefully map out everything that I have and give it a space and custom build a shelf that will fit all of those items, so that there is a cubby for the trimmer router and there is a cubby for the chisels. However, I don't think that I have the tools right now that I will always have, and I'm just not sure that I have the brain space right now to think of every possible configuration to make sure that the things are exactly where I want them. So that's why I want to create something that can move around, and this is what I've come up with. I'm going to create a series of boxes, and there's really only two sizes of boxes. There is a large one and a small one. Both boxes are the same width, and the width of the box, when turned on its side, is the height of this space I have here from this shelf down to the bottom. What this means is that I can arrange them in lots of different arrangements with the small box on the bottom or the small box on the top, or any of those boxes on their sides. And that gives me lots of different space to store tall things that are narrow, tall things that are wide, flatter things, and larger boxes. Now, I've pre-measured some of my stuff, like the trimmer container and the domino container because those are things that I have out and I know that they will fit in the larger boxes that I've created. But I feel like this arrangement will give me lots of flexibility and it also fits in this space really well. And when I line up a certain configuration of them, they add up to about 2.1 meters long, which is the length of these benches. So they're very simple to make. All the parts are basically identical except for the heights of those two boxes. I can use the same joinery for everything, which I'll run you through in a second. And I can move these around as I need to. Now, one of these boxes might need to have some sort of custom divider in it for some other item, or maybe I want to put some hooks in there for the glasses, etc. But fundamentally, the backbone of the system is all going to be the same, and it shouldn't take me very long to make. The next process when I've got a whole bunch of boxes, and this applies for all of the cabinets for a kitchen or something simple like this, is that everything needs to get mapped onto the material that either I have or that I'm going to buy. In this case, because I'm trying not to buy anything, I have 6 small sheets of this 9mm ply and some offcuts, and I have to fit all of those panels that I need onto those sheets. Now, what that meant in this case was that as it was designed, they would not all fit, and I definitely wasn't going to buy more material. That goes against this project. But if I was able to shrink the height of those boxes by a few millimeters, I think it was about 6 millimeters, then all of a sudden I could fit all of my boxes onto the sheets that I had. So on a professional job, that's not a compromise that I could potentially make, and that might just mean buying another sheet, and that's fine. Cost of the sheet's not that much. But for this, I don't want to leave the workshop. I don't mind if all of these boxes are slightly shorter. There'll be a bit more of a gap between the top plate and the boxes, but that's fine. I'll show you what it looks like. When I map stuff onto SketchUp, I actually lay out all of the sheets that I have, and then I designate every single part onto those sheets. Now in this case, I also had these smaller offcuts here, so I was able to put some of my small parts onto there. I do exactly the same process if this was all birch ply, or even sometimes if it's solid timber. This means I know exactly what I have. Basically any project that I do that uses panel products, this is what happens to it. I have a really important note about this process. It's very tempting when you're trying to map stuff out to just rotate pieces, try and fit them into any gap possible. And for this project, that's totally fine. Most of the grain won't be seen, and also it's just workshop shelves. But I have done this before for a client project using some nice veneered ply. And if you rotate the direction of those panels, then all of a sudden you've rotated the visible grain direction. And that can really, not only does it really make a difference, you just can't do it. It looks terrible on most projects. So make sure you're aware of which directions those panels should be facing in the final piece before you try and switch them around on your map just to make them fit into a weird gap. From experience, I have made that mistake. The joint I'm using is really simple. It's this little half lap rebate joint. I've done a whole video on this process. The simplest way to do this is to find a router bit that's exactly half the width of the material you are using. So check out the link to the video I've done, which uses 6mm plywood and a 3mm router bit. However, this is 9mm ply. I don't have a 4.5mm router bit, so instead we have to use 2 processes instead of 1. We're going to cut the slot on the panel saw or the table saw, and that's going to give us a slot that is the width of the blade, which is 3.2mm wide, and I'm going to set the depth of that at about 3mm. And then we're going to cut that simple rebate just on the router table. Just set it up with a straight bit and cut that rebate in one pass. Now, like I said, check out the other video. It shows how you can do this with 1 machine and no changing. So 1 router setup, no moving the fence, but doing 2 steps is not that difficult, especially when I'm creating so many boxes that I can batch out all of these slots and then batch out all of these rebates. These boxes go together really easily because of that rebate. Those two components just slide together and the whole thing can be glued. In larger panels, if you had a few boxes to make, I would glue and clamp the whole things and make sure it's square. Because I have so many in this thin ply, I actually don't have clamps or space to do it. And because it's workshop furniture, I'm gonna glue and pin these. To put glue on these sections, I'm using a little roller. So the roll on the face doesn't get glue on the slot, but then I can roll onto the actual tongue, and that means all the components are glued, but there's not a lot of squeeze out because the roller does it really evenly. There is a great joy in building workshop furniture that doesn't need quite as high a level of fit and finish as my professional furniture. Sometimes it's fun just to bang stuff together. Really thin ply like this is much more prone to racking. There's a couple of problems. There's just less surface area on that joint. And also a lot of this ply is not dead flat. So if this was a fine furniture application, this would not be what I was using, but this is going to be perfect for the shelves that I need. What that means is that I'll pin it together, and then if it's not square, I can put a clamp, a soft clamp, on a slight angle across the frame and bring it back into square. And then it'll just need to be clamped like that for 10 minutes, but it's kind of only one clamp per box rather than 6 that I might need if I wasn't using the pin gun. All right, all done. I'll give you a little tour. So I often just work around on my desk here with my computer, but if I'm using the drop saw, then the computer can't be there. So it sits up here in this little cubby here. Got PPE, some drills, power in this cubby for drills and batteries, etc., and some of my camera stuff. All of this sandpaper paraphernalia is above my sandpaper drawer. Spot for chisels, glue, some solvent, CA glue, trimmer, jigsaw, domino, some random kind of painting stuff, which is above my painting drawers. I'm sure this thing will evolve over time. My PPE is currently just shoved in a little hole, and it would be nice for those things to have hooks. Or perhaps I don't need 3 sets of earmuffs in one little hole. I could probably draw some of them. But overall, this has made a huge difference. I mean, part of the benefit of a process like this is just taking stuff out and throwing the bits that have filled up the cracks that I don't need. And, you know, some of this will still be a dumping ground, but it's going to be less of a dumping ground than the old system was. And it was pretty simple to put together. I like that I can move it around. I like that I can customize any of those boxes that I need to. Like I said, I've got power in one of them. I could put hooks in another one. But right now, it's basically solved this problem. Workshop furniture is always a bit of a compromise. It's how much money do you want to spend on materials? How much time do you want to spend on it? How much is it actually going to save you long term? But I think this has met that compromise somewhere in the middle. The materials cost me nothing. The joinery is not perfect, but it's strong enough. These boards are not dead straight. 9mm pine plywood is pretty bendy, but for workshop furniture, I think it's, done the job. Let me know down below if you have any questions or comments. I'm always happy to answer whatever I can to make your life easier if you want to try something like this. or criticisms. If you think this is a pile of garbage, let me know. That's totally fine. Until next week, keep making stuff, and I'll see you then.